A couple of things. First of all, GE and Google are now going in together to push for government subsidies to build new transmission lines. Estimated cost $100 billion. I'm trying to think here. GE. Oh, yeah, that's right. Economic advisor, GE. And, oh my gosh, Google, too. Just with the president advising. The collaboration, GE and Google, will launch a new campaign in the nation's capital to push for more federal subsidies and incentives for green power. Who would have seen this one coming? We'll give you more on that in the coming days. Just keep your eye on GE. And you know what? Google bothers me as well. Never has, but Google has access to everything. To everything. Google wants to be the computer company that stores all of the information brought out from the smart grid, Google and GE and the U.S. government. Oh. If Hitler would have had the power that we have now, there wouldn't be a Jew left on the planet. God help us, man. Okay, next story. Tonight, what's the lady's name again that's going to be on, that's running for governor of California from eBay? Yeah, Meg Whitman's going to be on with me tonight. I got to ask her about this one. California is close to selling $200 million in general obligation bonds because they need the money. Who are they selling the bonds to? The Bay Area Toll Authority. I'm just trying to figure that out. Hang on. So California is selling bonds to California. How does that work? That works when nobody else wants to buy your bonds. When nobody wants to buy your bonds, you have to start selling them to yourself. In a completely unrelated story, December 1st, Bernanke gave a speech, and then again, January 28th, a statement. He signaled the readiness for the Fed to buy long-term treasuries. Wait a minute. So that would be the government selling the non-government agency that's running the government bonds. Instead of, why would you do that? Instead of selling them to, I don't know, China. Could it be that maybe the rest of the world is starting to say, I don't want to buy your bonds? Both of these stories are the same. One is spelling the death of California. The other one could spell the death of America. February 9th, the Fed was cautioned, quote, the Fed must be very careful to avoid the perception that it is monetizing the explosion of fiscal deficits. The perception that they're just racking up the debt. By the way, the Bank of Japan and the Bank of England have been urged in the last couple of days by advisors and politicians to print money to fund more aggressive economic stimulus measures. The solution is the problem. We are playing money games. Why did Bernie Madoff get into trouble? He was playing money games. Why do we have so many problems with the bank? Credit default swaps. What are those? They're money games. There's no real asset there. There's no there there. They're just moving money from one place to another to create the illusion of money. We are doing the same thing now, except at our peril. Before, the Wall Street cats just did it, and they destroy themselves, fine, whatever. You want to do it, destroy yourself. But I'm not making the choice to do this. You're not making the choice to do this. The Fed and the Bank of Japan and the Bank of England, what I lined out yesterday on this program, they're the ones making the decision. And they're being cautioned that they have to be very careful to avoid the perception that they are printing more money and then buying our own bonds, but that is exactly what they're doing. And it cannot last. It will not last. Nobody's looking beyond this step. If you, right now, you have to make a decision. I learned this during the Monica Lewinsky thing. Everybody will change the argument, okay? I should have said to you when I said these things 2 years ago, look out, I should have said, if the Dow hits 7,500, then will you prepare? I should have actually said if it hits 10,000, then will you prepare? But every time it hits 10,000, it was at 12,000, and I said, I'm telling you, get out. And the people around me, oh, that's crazy. Glenn, it's going to go back up. Okay, then it hit 10. When it hit 10, everybody was like, okay, I think we're at the bottom. I said, we're not at the bottom. It's going to hit 75. No, it's not going to hit 75. Glenn, you know what the world would be like if it's 75? Yes, I do. Well, what are we now? 77. We're at 77. Change the argument. If it hits 75, will you then prepare? Tell your friends, if it hits 75, will you then start listening to me? Please, and prepare? Because 6 months ago you said, Glenn, you know what the world would be like if it was 7,500? Yes, I do. Well, that means that we're there. Now will you listen? No, because they changed the argument. And the argument becomes, well, it's not going to go any farther. Stop saying that. Maybe it won't, but maybe it will. You denied it, and all of these people, not you, I'm sorry, but all these people, all these advisors and economy experts and everybody, they've been telling you all of this crap the whole time. When do we stop listening? Please, when do we stop listening? Change the argument on this one with the Fed. They have to be careful to avoid the perception that they're monetizing the explosion of fiscal deficits. They have to stop, and you could say, well, that's crazy. The Fed's not going to buy our bonds. That's not going to happen. Well, when you see it happen, will you then realize that we're spending out of control and we have got to cut back immediately? That we have got to stop printing money or hyperinflation is on the way? Nobody will agree to that. Nobody will agree to that. Because they don't want to think about what the next step is from there. But you're running out of off-ramps. But the good news is, I talked to a guy last night in New Hampshire. He's one of the state legislatures. He's in the state legislature. He's one of the legislators, and we called the office up at the Capitol. I said, can I speak to this representative, please? They said, where are you calling from? New York. Yeah, I thought so. It's a state capital. They don't have offices. I can give you his home number. You don't have these guys in offices? Hang on just a second. I got to get U-Haul on the phone. I'm moving to New Hampshire. Here's the story in a nutshell, and I'm going to bring it to you later on. This guy was studying James Madison and Thomas Jefferson and realized there was a Kentucky resolution in 1798. And what it was Thomas Jefferson said, wait a minute, I am a founding father. I know what we wrote. James Madison, I wrote the Constitution. I know what it means. And what they were trying to do was pass a law on sedition. You can't speak out against the government. James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, they were like, this is crazy. This is not what it means. And so what they did is Thomas Jefferson called up James Madison and said, would you write a resolution that I can put into the Kentucky state law? I can run it through so it can become a law in Kentucky and Virginia. And what it was is, if you do these things, if you pass bills on these things, they are in violation of the Constitution. And because of the 89th and 10th Amendment, we don't have to listen to you, and you have made that contract null and void. Well, they're writing one of these resolutions, exactly the same words that James Madison wrote, and it's pending now in the State House of New Hampshire.